This is an economy built on reputation. In an ancient bazaar, the real currency isn't just the gold in your pouch, it's the word of mouth and unwritten social trust that governs every single exchange. One merchant consistently outperforms everyone else. He doesn't necessarily have the best goods, he has the best charisma. He uses a relentless stream of charming banter to overwhelm buyers, keeping them so engaged they forget to scrutinize the transaction. But lately, the market has seen an anomaly. Customers leave his stall with a vague sense of being cheated, yet they have no proof. His equipment looks perfectly calibrated, leaving them with nothing but a feeling of unease. This is the microcon. Shaving a fraction off a product so small it registers as an acceptable margin of error keeps the theft below the threshold of suspicion. But when repeated across hundreds of customers, that tiny sliver compounds into a massive systemic profit. The merchant's charisma acts as a psychological smokescreen. It allows him to hide a high-volume fraud operation directly within the boundaries of what most people consider an honest mistake. Juha is the only one in the market who isn't buying the performance. He ignores the merchant's banter entirely, focusing instead on the cold, physical mechanics of the trade. He begins a forensic audit. He poses as a standard buyer, purchases a batch of premium goods, and stays silent, enduring the merchant's psychological distraction without reacting. As soon as the deal is done, Juha performs a stress test. He takes the goods to a verified, independent scale in another stall to measure the exact mathematical difference between what was promised and what was delivered. He confirms the theft, but a private confrontation is tactically useless. A skilled manipulator will simply frame the hard data as a one-off human error, apologize, and return to the grift. To dismantle a psychological illusion, you have to force a catastrophic, undeniable data failure in front of a live audience. Juha returns to the stall and places an artificially massive order. He is intentionally triggering the merchant's greed to force a much larger, more visible statistical deficit. The merchant speeds up, his chatter becoming louder and frantic, rushing the bulk transaction through before anyone looks too closely. At the moment of payment, Juha halts the momentum. He loudly demands the entire order be reweighed from scratch, drawing the attention of every nearby shopper. The scale doesn't lie. The reweighing reveals a physical deficit so large it can no longer be dismissed as a minor discrepancy. The margin of error excuse has officially collapsed. This forced transparency instantly strips away the power of the merchant's charisma. The crowd's default trust is replaced by active, vocal suspicion. The merchant tries one last defense, attempting to laugh off the discrepancy as a random accident caused by the rush of the crowd. Juha ends the argument by producing a standardized, merchant-grade metal weight. He isn't testing the goods anymore. He is testing the tool itself. Look at the fulcrum. When the standard weight is applied, the scale fails. The center point has been physically shifted, ensuring the balance always tips in the merchant's favor, regardless of what is being weighed. Any remaining doubt evaporates. The fraud is no longer just an accusation. It is a physical reality proven by the scale's own mechanics. The crowd realizes they have been part of a long-term, calculated operation. Charm can explain away a bad outcome, but it cannot argue with compromised physics. The data has effectively silenced the salesman. Refunding the stolen money was the simple part. The merchant quickly discovered that his real bankruptcy was happening elsewhere. He is now bankrupt in the trust economy. He still has high-quality inventory and a prime location, but he possesses zero social capital. No one will initiate a single transaction with him. Facing the silence of his empty stall, he finally asks Juha a technical question. How do you repair a reputation that has been mathematically destroyed? Juha's answer is a hard economic truth. Reputation is an asymmetric asset. It takes years of honest behavior to build, seconds of bad data to shatter, and it cannot be bought back with apologies. In this system, verbal promises are worthless. Only high-friction, verifiable actions have enough value to change the public's mind. The merchant changes his entire operational model. He stops talking. He replaces his charming banter with absolute silence and total transparency during every trade. He begins a strategy of deliberate economic loss. By overweighing every order, he slowly buys back microscopic fractions of trust. This graph moves at an agonizing pace. He eats these losses month after month just to convince a single buyer to return. A young buyer eventually confronts him, asking directly about his history of fraud. The merchant pauses and, for the first time, offers the truth without making a single excuse for his past. Human trust is a fragile capital asset. It can be liquidated for a quick profit, but sustaining it requires a lifetime of rigorous honesty. Exposing a trick is simple, but rebuilding the trust that was lost is the work of a lifetime.